And we are live. Hey guys, I'm Wolfie, and today we are gonna talk about a few subjects, the must-wins, of course, for this NFL divisional round. Then we're gonna talk about the post, wild card round recap. Just kind of go through each game, what we really kind of thought about it, just get that out of the way also. And then talk about Brock Purdy versus Sam Darnold for the last time. Just something I want to bring up, just so that we can look at it. A little bit of a argument I want to throw out there because I there's something I want to just like sink my teeth into real quick. And that may be seem petty because it's over, it's done with. But just one last time, just one last thing I want to take a look at. Val in the house. Appreciate you as always. Thank you so much. OG in the house. And then my sponsor is usually water, but I actually don't have water right now with me, but I did drink my cup, I promise. And I do have coffee. Okay, so coffee is the sponsor of the day. You like this live, Val? Hey, I appreciate it. If you guys can also like the live people who watch this, please hit that like button as well. Papa J in the house. Best mod of broken. Ask for Niners for life in the house. Let's go. Be sure to like the live, guys. Helps me out a lot. We're gonna talk about a few things. Get a few things on the docket. Try to fit it through an hour. I got a lot of things to do after this live, so we got strict time constrictions with the hour. I'll be right back. My dog times this whenever I go live. Come. Sorry. Every time we go live, my dog is like, I don't want to hear this guy yell and scream and stuff, so I'm going to go outside. That's what she does every single time. So, all right. Let's go ahead and jump into the big one of the conversation here, which is Brock Purdy versus Sam Darnold. I was very curious because some people were talking about how Brock Purdy, we all know that there was certain players just didn't live up to the hype like they usually do, such as Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, of course, dude was totally buns. CMC was out. The offensive line was atrocious. Trent Williams, though was playing great, was not playing up to Trent Williams' status. It was apparent that Trent Williams was kind of like his age started to catch up to him a little bit there. So that was kind of happening. George Kittle and Juwan Jennings being like the pinnacle of what the best the 49ers could offer, which is really good, right? But they're not separation kind of type players. We all know that all the way through week 11, Brock Purdy dealt with the worst separation in the league average, which was 3 yards. So he had to be accurate all the time. And he was constantly on the run, and he had issues. Sam Darnold had probably one of the best setups that any quarterback can ask for. You got you could argue about it, but he had one of the best wide receiver duos in the league. One of those wide receivers being one of the best wide receivers in the league, and Justin Jefferson, of course. Then you got TJ Hawkinson, who's arguably a top 5 tight end in this league, a 9th ranked to 8th ranked offensive line from my research from all types of sites such as Fox, ESPN, etc. They all had it ranked a top 10 at least offensive line. Brock Purdy did not. The best ranking I heard for Brock Purdy was top 16-ish, top 17-ish to 22, I think it was. So Brock Purdy was dealing with it significantly less than Sam Darnold was. And you could argue that Kevin O'Connell is actually a quarterback guru. Kevin O'Connell is really good at his job. I think so. I think he's actually a really good coach. I know that some of his schemes may have been an issue, or was it the quarterback holding it too long? Because as we know, Sam Darnold held onto the ball for 4.72 seconds on average, which is a really, really long fucking time for a quarterback. Okay, it really is. So with that being said, obviously Sam Darnold having the better setup, Brock Purdy having the worst setup of the two. There was talking about Sam Darnold is better than Brock Purdy, and that Sam Darnold was having a better season than Brock Purdy. We all understand that Brock Purdy didn't have the touchdowns. Okay, so obviously Sam Darnold had 35, and Brock Purdy had 20. Okay, Brock Purdy also had 5 rushing touchdowns as well. So technically had 25, and then Sam Darnold had 36 touchdowns with 35 passing. All right, put that out of the way. But let's go back and look at what really is the quarterback stat, like really what focuses more on quarterbacks. We're going to look at those stats real quick and compare them. So that way we can be like, okay, who really had the better season here? So starting with completion percentage. Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold. Brock Purdy in 15 games to Sam Darnold 17. Brock Purdy had 65.9%. Sam Darnold had a 66.2%. Just a little bit better. So much more, but a little bit better completion percentage. So you're like, okay, well, technically that's better. Well, let's jump into the next stat, of course. Yards. Brock Purdy had 3,800 and I didn't write that down. 600 something yards. I can't remember what it was. I did not write down the original one, but I did write down his average, which was 257.6 yards. That was Brock Purdy's average. And if you add that to both games, his average into those games, he would have had 4,379 yards. Sam Darnold had 4,319. So right there, Brock Purdy beats him in yards. Passing yards every single game. Brock Purdy had 257.6. Sam Darnold, on average, had 254.1. So passing the ball, Brock Purdy was a lot more efficient. And he had a significant less when it came to separation, weapons, and just the situation in general. Brock Purdy threw the ball better. Passing touchdowns, Brock Purdy had 20, but if he were to play the entire season with those two last games missing, you give him those two touchdowns, he would have 22. Obviously, we said Sam Darnold has 35, beats him in touchdowns. However, they share interceptions. They have the same amount of interceptions. And if you took the average of those interceptions to games, it would have been a 0.7 interception for every game, chance that every time Brock Purdy potentially would throw an interception. So I did not count that as an interception because I would not round up to 1 because it's not 8.8 or 0.9, so I did not round that up. So technically they still have 12 interceptions together. Passer rating, Sam Darnold beats him with passer rating with 96.1 to 102.5. It's not too far off, but usually having 100 is probably like the goal, a little bit over 100. Anything over 100 is usually good. Anything below that is usually like average or not that great. Brock Purdy had 96.1 to Sam Darnold's 102.5. Okay, so it's roughly close, especially when it comes to completion percentage, was kind of close as well. However, fumbling the ball, Brock Purdy was 3 for 7. Was 3 for 7 in fumbling the ball. He fumbled the ball 7 times and lost it 3 times. Sam Darnold in the regular season fumbled the ball 8 times and lost it 4 times. So Sam Darnold actually fumbles the ball more than Darnold. Rushing the ball, because obviously rushing the ball nowadays is kind of a big thing for quarterbacks. We all know Sam Darnold is somewhat of a statue. Rushing, Brock Purdy had 5 rushing touchdowns, 66 carries, a 4.9 average with 323 yards. Okay, Sam Darnold had 1 touchdown, 67 carries, so 1 more carry than Brock Purdy, with 212 yards and a 3.2 yards per carry. So Brock Purdy's a better quarterback, and he's a better runner at that. QBR, which is supposed to be like a round altogether up number of how good was he, how much did he contribute to the offense, how much was he part of the offense and the success of that offense. That's what QBR is. And based on that grade, they give you a percentage. Brock Purdy had a 68.1. Sam Darnold, 60.7, a whole 8% off. Well, I guess 7 point something off from Brock Purdy. That is huge difference. So what these stats are saying is that pretty much Brock Purdy contributed way more to the offense and the success of the offense than Sam Darnold did. And then yards per pass, every pass attempt was 8.5 for Brock Purdy. Sam Darnold had 7.9. It is official, people. Brock Purdy, even though he had significantly less than Sam Darnold did, the situation, everything, Brock Purdy factually, statistically, had a better season than Sam Darnold. And everyone was saying that Sam Darnold's season was unfathomable. It was something, it's unprecedented for Sam Darnold to do this. He won 14 games. He's incredible. There's a reason why they won 14 games. Brock Purdy literally played better than him. And was a better quarterback. So I just want to come back to this whole like Brock Purdy is not better than Sam Darnold. We need to trade for Sam Darnold and get rid of Brock Purdy. We got the wrong quarterback. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. Because if Sam Darnold was in this system and in this situation, he would have done significantly worse. Honestly, considering what he had and what Brock Purdy had to deal with, Sam Darnold actually underperformed compared to what Brock Purdy would have done. So to say that Brock Purdy, so I just want to get that out of the way real quick. I was very curious to see what was the season stats statistically, who was the better quarterback? Which one would I rather have in this situation? Despite one having a significantly worse situation and one having one of the best situations a quarterback could ask for. And honestly, I was shocked. I was expecting a lot different than this. I was actually expecting Sam Darnold to be better in every stat to the point where I was like, okay, well, for the situation he was in, Brock Purdy did pretty well. I was expecting that. I went in this expecting that. And it turns out Brock Purdy still had a better season than him. That is wild to me. So, I mean, I rest my case. I rest my case. The whole situation, he cannot win the big moments. We already went through that debate. The whole situation, he cannot win the big moments. And then also statistically, Brock Purdy was better than him throughout the entire year. So there you go. There you have it. I rest my case. Sam Darnold versus Brock Purdy. We're done with it. We can leave it behind us. And let me know what you guys think about the whole stats. If you disagree or agree, I'd love to hear it. And if you have a new case that comes out that argues what I just said, please let me know. But I don't think so because I went through all the stats, went through everything, and that's how it came out. I was what when I saw it, dude. So, all right, we got a couple of comments. Let's go ahead and get through those. Jake in the house. What are we talking about? TJ right now. Jake in the house. It's Niners for life. Hey, nice. Jake talking about 49ers news and Darnold and Purdy too. Darnold equals booty cheeks. He does. And we're showing some love. That's what I like to see. Good show. Hey, appreciate it. When it comes to passing, saying passer as opposed to quarterback is better because QB encompasses both passing and rushing. It's definitely a case, especially down in this era of football. Your quarterback being able to run a little bit. There is a little bit of the pocket passer kind of being a different era, like Tom Brady, obviously the greatest quarterback of all time. Joe Montana, one of the greatest of all time. You know, you need to have. I'm not saying you need to be mobile like Lamar Jackson-esque or even Josh Allen-esque, right? But you need to have some sort of mobility to your game. Offensive line these days is not easy. It's not the same. It's really not the same. People are bitching about the Vikings don't have a shitty offensive line, but yet they have one of the top 10 ranked offensive lines in the league. Having the best not everyone can have a Jalen Hurts offensive line. All right? Not everyone can have that. So having a little bit of mobility in your quarterback is important. It truly is. You won when Darnold lost the Rams 110%. Technically, I would have won if I knew about these stats. I got to tell you that much. Did you know Moody was a QB? I actually did not know that. Was Moody a QB? Probably has to be in high school. So 37 subs. Let's go. We're getting close to 4K. 4K television, baby. Steve-O in the house. All right. I think you're absolutely right. Well, I appreciate it, Papa J. I appreciate you as always. So let's jump into the next thing, which is should we do recap first of the wildcard games and then jump into the must-wins? Let's do the recap of the games first, and then we'll jump into the must-wins because that's kind of out of the way there. So, all right. So, Texans versus Chargers. Let's talk about that real quick. Honestly, I thought Justin Herbert was not that great of a quarterback, right? Everyone bragged about how he's top 5. He was this quarterback. He did this. Right? Like he was this guy. He was the guy for the Chargers because he throws a pretty ball. He looks like a prototypical, looks like Josh Allen out there. And it turns out he's Wish version of Josh Allen. That's what he is. He's just he looks like it, right? He's got the frame of a Ferrari. He's got the frame of a car that you're obsessed with. But under the hood, man, it's a Honda. There's nothing going on there. Like, he was the reason they lost against the Texans. He was the reason. There's some where like you can make an argument like, okay, he should have been played better. He got elevated his team, things like that. But Herbert actually hindered his team, actually held back his team. He is worse than I thought he was. Like, you all know me. I was giving him shit. I was like, okay, yeah, he's not a top 5, maybe top 10, somewhere around there. That dude did not play like that. He played like a 15 to 20ish quarterbacks out there. Seriously, not good at all. He held back his squad, held back his team against the Texans. All the Texans had to do was just wait for Justin Herbert to make mistakes. Because even if C.J. Stroud did not go off, their defense would have given them enough opportunity to just win that game anyway. You could almost have had, I was going to say if you had Justin Herbert on the Texans, you would have won, but you could have had, I can't think of it, like, I'm trying to think of like a mid-ass quarterback. Tua back there. You could have had Kirk Cousins back there. You could have had those quarterbacks. Drake May, even those rookies. You could have had the rookies out there, and you would have won that game because Justin Herbert would have just given it away. That's what he did in that entire game. Shout out to Saleh, by the way, for protecting the lead. Shout out to Saleh DeMeco Ryans for winning these playoff games. 2 straight years for being in a playoff games. This is profound, man. This is awesome. I'm super happy for him being a former 49ers defensive coach. I wish him nothing but the best for the Texans. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even be rooting for this team, to be honest with you. But shout out to the Texans defense. Shout out to C.J. Stroud making the plays that he had to. It didn't look very good being 10-6. But the moment that ball, when he snapped it, it went over his head, right? Everything changed. For some reason, C.J. Stroud unlocked it. He turned a terrible situation into an incredible one, throwing it all the way down to the 50-yard line, being back almost into the end zone. And from there, C.J. Stroud he was on. He was on, made the plays that he had to, ran the ball when he had to, threw the ball when he had to, made the plays. And they ended up blowing out the Chargers. And it was belt to fucking ass for that game. So that is my opinion of that Texans versus Chargers game. The Chargers did not stand a chance. And also, one more thing before I move on from it. Jim Harbaugh coming out after saying, oh, this is my favorite team. Fuck you, man. Okay? You were with the 49ers, and we took you to a Super Bowl, and you're going to say this was your favorite team? Right? And if I'm a Michigan fan, fuck you. What do you mean? We won a national title together. What do you mean? I don't know, man. I took that as a slight. I was like, I understand that you're trying to get back, you're trying to get your teams back, but there's just certain things you don't say, man. Because if I was a Michigan fan and as a 49ers fan, I felt slighted. I was like, fuck you, dude. It's kind of what I always say in the press conferences, man. You need to know what you say in the press conference. It matters because we're listening to you. We're fans. And you say shit like that? Nah, dude. Nah, son. Fuck you, man. I hope you never win a Super Bowl. Fuck you. That's best team you've ever been around. You didn't win shit. You didn't win a playoff. The quarterback you're saying you love is the best and the greatest, going to win you games, chokes for you. I'm glad you got his back. But I felt slighted. I felt slighted. So that's what I say about that. All right. I wish Harbaugh nothing but the worst from here on out. Okay. When it comes to football, like not personally like that, but when it comes to football, okay. I hope Justin Herbert gives you everything you deserve. Call me cynical. I don't care. Sounds like Texans used the Ravens game to put up a bad defensive script. And when Chargers took the bait and tried to run the same things Ravens did, DeMeco switched up and shut them down. Yep. Calm down. This is the first year with them. Nah, man, you don't say that shit that you said, man. I don't wish him the best at all. 2 interceptions weren't on him. I would say 3 were on him. 1 was not, which is bounced off the defender's hand, Disley's hands, and it got intercepted. But if you want to say that those 2 interceptions weren't his fault, the other 2 interceptions were very crucial. They were very crucial to him coming back and winning the game. So he cost him that game. Then not only that, he couldn't make plays. Couldn't do it. Couldn't make the plays he had to. Couldn't do it. 3 and out, punt, because he couldn't do it. Wolfie, I'm pretty sure he took us to the Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan took us to 2. 2. Just saying. Took us to 2. Right? Jim Harbaugh took us to 1. I agree that. I appreciate that. I like Jim Harbaugh. But if you're listening to what I'm saying, he's saying that Chargers team was the best team he's ever been a part of. I took that as a slight. I took that personal. I'm sorry. It's not happening. Michael in the house. Good to see you. Hi, Papa Wolfie, everyone in the YouTube channel. Hope everyone's having a great Thursday. It's a pretty good Thursday. So far, I would say it's not that bad. It's not that bad at all. I got to go shopping later, etc. But you guys don't need to hear stuff like that. So, all right. Let's jump into the next game, which is Steelers versus Ravens. I was not. That's super awesome, man. I'm happy for you, dude. That's dope, dude. That's a good connection. Man, for real. Ravens versus Steelers. Look, I didn't think that was going to be belt to ass. All right. I did not expect that to happen. I know there are some people out there that want to say that the Ravens were going to beat down the Steelers, right? And that, yeah, sure. But I feel like that was more of just talk. If anyone thought this was actually going to be a blowout, like a real blowout, props to you. If you truly felt like it was going to be one and you were just saying that because you wanted the Steelers to lose, props to you. Because I expected a divisional, even though that the Steelers, obviously, I felt like were going to lose, they always have this back and forth. They always have this close-ass bullshit that happens between these two teams. Even for the playoffs, I thought that same thing would happen. I thought the Steelers would be able to hold them down to like 20 points, Steelers to like one-score game, get like 13, 16 points, and lose the game. Nah, man, this was straight up belt to ass, okay? This was a Derrick Henry game. This was a Lamar Jackson running the football down their throat game and just threw the ball when he had to. Throwing the ball came like third, okay? First it was Lamar Jackson running, then Derrick, then throwing the ball, all right? And it was actually an incredible showing of seeing what they could do with their run game. What they did against the Steelers was, honestly, it was a boring-ass game, right? If you're a Baltimore Ravens fan, you're joyous, you're excited. But as for someone who's not a fan of those teams, either one of those teams, that was a boring-ass game. And that made for a boring-ass Saturday. But we had an excellent live, and the live is what made that awesome. So the Ravens versus Steelers, I didn't predict it, but if you did, that's awesome. But I'm trying Mike Tomlin, man, I heard he's going to be on the hot seat a little bit. Well, I heard that the fans are putting him on the hot seat. Now there's like this huge controversy. Should he get fired? Should he get traded to the Dallas Cowboys, etc.? He was my honorable mention as a must-win outside of Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson got the W, and I saw this coming. The moment the Steelers lost, especially in that fashion, I knew the talk that Mike Tomlin should be fired or traded was going to occur. And guess what? It happened. It truly happened. So that was a crazy ass game. So in a belt to ass fashion, of course. So shout out to the Ravens. Now can the Ravens repeat that against real competition? Can they do this against the Bills? We'll talk about that more in the future, of course. Jake had a good stat that I appreciated on. Jake said that the Bills had 7 starters out when the last time they played. And the last time they played, the Ravens beat the shit out of them in the run game. Derrick Henry went off. They won that game 35-10 the last time they played. So now we're going to see the true competition of Lamar Jackson. Will Lamar actually be able to sustain what he did against the Steelers, which was run the ball? Because we saw a couple of times where he took a couple big hits, and it looked like he kind of got hurt a little bit. Pretty bad. So can he do that again against higher competition? We'll see. Strawberry in the house. Might not last long in the car. My phone is at 4%. Damn, dude. I swear battery life is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, weaker and weaker and weaker, like with every new phone that comes out, man. I'm sorry. But hey, I appreciate you joining, man. Sacrificing your battery life to be here, man. That's true love right there. I see you. I just want the Rams to lose Sunday to end their season. Honestly, I won't give my prediction yet. I won't give my prediction just yet. I'm going to do that tomorrow with the Wolfie and Poggy show. There is no guarantee there will be a Wolfie and Poggy show tomorrow because Poggy's job is apparently going crazy right now, even though I think it's really just the Justin Herbert thing. But I digress. So we might not have a show tomorrow. We'll see. If not, I will go live and still do predictions, and I'll let you guys know who I got going for. And I think some of them you actually might have a surprise on, to be honest with you. Schittsburg sucks. I agree, man. I hate Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's my least favorite team of all time. Not all time, but like the top 3 least favorite teams. Since I first fell in love with football, I've always hated Pittsburgh. So true best game was Washington versus Bucks. I agree with you. We'll get to that. 49ers meeting in the house. Be sure to like the live. Philadelphia and Buffalo has snow. For us meeting in the house. Man was saying some wild stuff last night. I was spitting hot fire last night. Your friend Niner Game Project needs to smoke pot, dude. Like, he needs to breathe. Has he been sick lately? Going to be very cold Sunday. It's going to be very cold. It could be an intense game. Tyler Helton in the house. Best he said I know. I don't hate the Steelers. You should hate the Steelers, man. The Steelers are bums. Okay. Nah, he was saying crazy facts. 8.5 sacks. We'll say the facts real quick. We'll get through this. And you guys may disagree with me on this. 8.5 sacks is mid. 8.5 sacks is not bad. It's not below average. It is fucking mid. If your D end gets you 15 to 17 sacks, which would be 1 sack a game, that is elite. What's half of elite? Mid. And what's half of 17 games? 8.5 sacks. That's mid. It's the definition of mid. Mid. Not bad. Mid. 8.5 sacks is mid, factually. Elite is 17 sacks, which is 1 sack a game. That is elite. Trey Anderson, elite. 8.5 sacks is half of that. Mid. You said 9 sacks is good. It's just half a sack. No, I said 10 sacks is good. You draw the line at 10 sacks. That is double digits. That is good. Great would be about 13 to 15 sacks. Elite is 15 plus. You need to draw the line somewhere. Because then at that point, I could just say mid is 10 sacks. I could say that elite is 10 sacks if I wanted to. You draw the line somewhere. Half of 17 is 8.5 sacks. So that is facts. And 1.5 sacks, according to an 8.5 season, is 3 games. Because that means you're getting a sack every other game. So you get 1 sack in a game. You don't get the other half sack until 2 games later. So it's actually 3 games. So it takes 3 games to get to that 10th sack. Facts. I popped in yesterday for Nicely Live. Great show yesterday. That's dope. Supporting each other. That's what I like to see. 8.5 sacks is good when it comes to his age. It's mid when you want – it is mid when you need someone on the other side of Nick Bosa. Age does not matter when you have that starting line. You have that starting edge because you want to win football games. You want to perform. You want to be fantastic. Fantastic for his age doesn't justify him being out there. If he gets 5 sacks next year, and he's 33, 34 years old, I could say that's great for his age. That's elite for his age. Does that justify him being on the team? It does not. It does not. So let's continue. I'll continue my live, man. I'll continue live. I'm just spitting hot fire. All right. I'm never going to agree with you. Hey, that happens. That happens, man. But factually, 8.5 sacks is mid. Mid is 15th quarterback overall. Patrick Mahomes just had his 3 baby. Yes, he did. I heard. Maybe Patrick Mahomes needs to stay home. Patrick Mahomes needs to stay home. So that way he can be there for his baby. So I don't think he should go to that playoff game. I don't think he should play against the Texans. He needs to be there for his kid. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the next game, which is Bills versus Broncos. All right, so we all want the Bills. We all wanted the Broncos to win, right? Let's be real. We all wanted the Broncos to win. We knew damn well they weren't going to win. I had the Bills winning. We all saw that coming. Did I think it was going to be that bad, just like in the Ravens game? No. I actually thought that the Broncos were going to do a little bit more than that, especially towards the beginning of that game where they got that touchdown like right off. I was like, oh my God, they might have a game plan here. But we all know that the 15 game script is never like after that. It's usually not the same. And I kind of thought that during the game. I was like, okay, once we get past this script part, can he do it? Can he win these games? Can he make the plays that he has to as a rookie in the big moments? Believe it or not, Bo Nix did not play that bad. I know the score may not tell you that they played fantastic, but he actually really did, especially for a rookie in that moment. Unlike Herbert, Bo Nix has an excuse. He's a rookie. He's out there. He doesn't exactly have that experience, right? But I like what I saw from Bo Nix. He was making some throws, doing what he had to do, didn't make the mistakes that Justin Herbert did. Honestly, you can almost say that if you put Bo Nix on the Chargers versus the Texans, it probably would have been a lot closer game. So shout out to the Broncos for doing what they had to do, showing off Bo Nix. And hopefully next year they can continue that. Get a better running back, maybe a better tight end, focus on protection, get rid of McGlinchey and get a real right tackle because that guy is buns, right? There's a few things that they can do to get better. And I'm actually looking for, if I was a Broncos fan, I would be ecstatic for the future. They were playing with house money. As for the Bills, oh my God, Josh Allen looked phenomenal. And we all talked about how the Broncos were looking great. One was like the only one who was like, I don't know about this defense. I was like, I don't know about, what are you talking about? This defense is great. He was right. The Josh Allen was wheeling and dealing, man. Making the plays he had. He threw an incredible 4th and 1 touchdown to a running back who wasn't even open. The corner had him. He was covered. That was incredible. I was like, what? What a dime. If I was the corner, I'd feel like shit because I really feel like I should have made a play on that ball. But that was a dime. And credit to the running back keeping his feet in. Unreal, dude. Josh Allen played phenomenal. Now, once again, we are going to play against the Ravens, which is bigger competition, a lot more intensity with this one, a lot more riding on it, divisional round. However, the Ravens' deep passing defense, the last time I checked, was ranked 31st in the league. Josh Allen, if he feels the way he feels in the against the Broncos, he's going to be throwing the ball like crazy, making the plays that he has to. Truly. Oh, and I want to say that against the Bills and Broncos game, shockingly enough, I know I said that Josh Allen was willing and dealing. I still give the MVP to James Cook because he got it going. All right, that run game was phenomenal. James Cook was making the plays he had to. He was deking and diving and just being incredible. So shout out to James Cook. And if Josh Allen can throw the ball the way he did in that Broncos game against the Ravens, it's going to be a high-scoring game. Steelers have a stagnant offense without Russell Wilson and Arthur Smith as offensive coordinator. Now you have, I can't think of his name. I know Terradome in the house. I know he has the dude's name, but something Brady draws up plays against a 31st ranked passing defense. That was wild, dude. So if we see that, if we could see, we're going to see nothing but a passing game in the next game coming up against Ravens versus Bills. But that Bills versus Broncos game, I did see that 49ers media had Bills versus Broncos. He says he wanted the Bills to win 110%. Shout out to you, man. You got what you wanted for sure. I wanted the Broncos to win just because it would have been a beautiful upset, something exciting to see and something to talk about for sure. So, but Bills versus Broncos, it was one of the same thing with the Ravens thing. If you were a fan of the Bills, it was an exciting game. It was fun. If you're not a fan, it was a terrible game. It was boring as shit. Okay. It was diarrhea. All right. It was on the toilet with no TikTok. It was that bad. It was terrible. But if you're a Bills fan, you enjoyed it. So we got some comments we're getting through before we jump into the next game. Here we go. I heard Dallas interviewed Robert Saleh and Jacksonville might be a runner-up for him. I swear to God, if Robert Saleh goes to the Dallas Cowboys, I will be his biggest hater. If Ben Johnson goes to the Dallas Cowboys, I will be his biggest hater. If Deion Sanders goes to the Dallas Cowboys, I'm fine with that. I don't think he's that good. I really don't. He's going to force Dak Prescott out. They're going to have to trade up to select Shadur Sanders, whatever it may be. Like, that's going to be a whole circus over there. Forcing that. I heard that Jason Witten possibly can get that job as well. So if Robert Saleh takes that job with Dallas, or if Ben Johnson does, I will be their biggest hater. I will prey upon them like Grant Cohn style. I will be over analytic. I will overreact to everything. Every time they lose, every bad decision, I will fucking be there. I will be there. I will not let that go. As a 49ers fan, I will not let that go. Hey, let's not. Hey, whoa. Hey. We're allowed some opinions here, man. We're allowed some opinions here, Tyler. Mahomes looks so old and slow. We'll see, man. I mean, that's never stopped him before. I'll be real. He's played on one leg and won a Super Bowl. The sports machine in the house. Hi. He is high right now, guys. He's high, y'all. Dolphins fan in the chat. Hello. I thought Sports Machine was a 49ers fan. Switch up is crazy. You just hated my team like 49ers. Brian, dude, honestly, everyone hates your team. Let's be real. Everyone's going to go against your team, Tyler. Just everyone. But that's a good thing in this case. You are the top dog. Your guys' team is the top dog. Just love it and accept it. And it's not because you're some rival to some team or anything like that. It's because your team is the top dog and they could three-peat. You are always going to have haters. Always. 49ers always have haters because they win all the time. If your team's winning all the time, you're going to have haters because you're disappointing other fan bases out there. You're doing something right. Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels will have chances getting their teams to a playoff. I agree. Jaden Daniels is a stud, man. I love Jaden Daniels. I knew that he was going to be that great. Bills Mafia sent a message. Broncos sleep with the fish. Broncos sleep with the fishes. I tried saying that with a Boston accent. I just took a shit on it. Jay, coldest game Lamar's played in was 27 degrees. Game in Buffalo is going to be 8 degrees. Really? That's an interesting fact, Jake. Jake, by the way, man, needs to start a YouTube channel. He's got some facts, brother. He's got some facts. Bo Nix is one of the best rookies. I actually liked him a lot. I don't think he was probably like the 4th or 5th up there, I would say. I think I like Drake May more. I think I actually like Drake May, who was a Jaden Daniels. Drake May I liked actually at the start, not really, but I actually started to like what he was doing, especially with what he was working with. So I guess, yeah, third. Bo Nix might be my third favorite rookie quarterback if I'm missing anything here. Yeah, I was just playing. What up, my man? I was showing some love. That's what I like to see. Throw your hands in the air if you're a true player. No doubt. Yes, dog, homie G. State Farm. We're talking about we got State Farm up in here. Russell Wilson's washed up. He is. State Farm is crazy. How's your Thursday going? Hey, I was showing some love. Sure, solid. Go ahead to the Cowboys if you want to have a history of first round exits. For real. I would be shocked. I would be. I want to talk about the other games real quick. I would be shocked if Saleh takes the Cowboys job. Why? Because if you take the Cowboys job, it's more about making money than actually winning championships, right? It's about just making the playoffs and stopping there. It's having little to no control of your roster. It really is. Jerry Jones makes all the decisions. And I would be shocked. Robert Saleh has already gone through this whole cycle of the Jets where Aaron Rodgers took control of everything and the GM was in charge of everything. Woody Johnson, from what I heard, his fucking 17-year-old kid was in charge of stuff. So I don't know. I'd be kind of shocked if Robert Saleh kind of like puts himself in the same situation almost, right? He'll probably get paid a lot more money. Sure, that defense will play better, but you're just in the same boat that you were with the whole Aaron Rodgers situation. And I would be kind of shocked if he actually goes into that. And then as long as the refs love you, you good. Do you have Instagram? Penix for Atlanta. Penix for Atlanta was good too. This was actually surprisingly good. I know it's supposed to be it was supposed to be good already, but I was actually usually a hyped up QB draft class isn't as good as advertised. This was actually pretty good as advertised. Now we just got to wait on JJ McCarthy and see if JJ McCarthy is any good. We'll see. He looks a little scrawny. He needs to go in the weight room. He looks tiny. Like he looks like the Slender Man. You think the Pats should trade Joe Milton? Oh, 10%. Drake May's your guy. He'd be the NFC's Mike Tomlin. Would you take Penix as a backup for the 49ers? No. Why I wouldn't do that? Either there'd be a QB controversy. If Brock Purdy has a bad game, Penix. So would I take him as a quarterback if I didn't have Brock Purdy? Of course I would. I would love to have Penix. I believe in him. I think he actually looks pretty good. I really do. I think Atlanta's got their future quarterback in Penix. And that's another thing I was wrong about. I criticized the Atlanta Falcons for drafting Penix, saying, hey, that was a bad idea. You should have done that. You paid Kirk Cousins all that money, but you draft Penix 8th overall where you could have helped him, made him better. You could have given Kirk Cousins absolutely everything he could ask for. The best offensive line, the best weapons, the best tight end, the best running back. He would have sucked. The interceptions that man was throwing was insane. He was throwing directly at defenders, not once or twice, because sometimes a quarterback does that, but he was throwing it at nothing. He was like Sam Darnold out there. He may have done better than Sam Darnold. That's about it. He was bad with Atlanta. So them drafting quarterback was actually a good idea. The only thing that becomes not a good idea in that situation is that if you were going to draft a quarterback anyway, you just gave Kirk Cousins millions. Like, what was it, $100 million guaranteed or some shit like that? That's a mistake in itself. But you did make up for it by drafting Penix. But at the time, I thought it was stupid because you just signed this guy to so much money, guaranteeing him a job for at least 3 years. I thought that was wild. So I was wrong about that, but I feel like I'm still right about what I critiqued was if you were going to draft him, why sign Kirk? That I was still right about. I was wrong, though, about Penix and doing that. If Penix turned out to be great 3 years from now and Kirk Cousins was doing his thing and looked as good as he was with the Vikings, I still would have been right in that situation because that was my critique, was that he wasn't going to play this year. And I was wrong with that. George Kittle, yeah, I heard he wants to be a wrestler. I heard about that. I'm not a wrestling fan, though. Falcons got lucky that Penix didn't suck and Kirk did, but they could be paying with the cap hit. Exactly. It comes with a caveat, but in the end, they're lucky that Penix did work out and Penix was that guy and looks like he has a bright future. Let's not get too CJ Stroud about it, though, and see what he does next year. We got to see what kind of days he stacks up first. But it looks good for the Falcons. All right, jumping into the next thing, Eagles versus Packers. Once again, a boring-ass game. Eagles versus Packers. Packers did not look great for them, man. It looked like, I shit you not, despite how bad Jalen Hurts played in that game, and do not, get me wrong here when I say that the Eagles dominated. Jalen Hurts played bad, okay? He was bad. He was not good. He had all day to throw the ball, was not accurate, could not find anyone. He did find Dotson in the end zone after a turnover at the beginning of the game where the momentum is just shifted and it's all in the Eagles' hands there. The D-line so close to the end zone is not like their blood isn't pumping enough. They're not exactly ready. It's kind of the advantage to the offensive line in this situation. They get a touchdown. The touchdown that Jalen Hurts throws to Dallas Goedert was a fucking check down behind the line. It was all Dallas Goedert. Stiff arm, stiff arm, stiff arm, stiff arm. Phenomenal, dude. Saquon Barkley, I know he got over 100 yards. I don't think he played that for Saquon Barkley standards. He didn't play to Saquon Barkley standards. He obviously played good, right? He got more than 4 yards a carry. He had that even before that big run at the end, but he didn't exactly play phenomenal. He had that really great run at the beginning. Then after that, it was kind of like basic running back-esque, right? Kind of type. It wasn't Saquon Barkley standards. And that could just be the rust of the Eagles, especially with Hurts being out there. So maybe they're trying to figure things out. But that Eagles defense is stud. They made the Packers look like peewees. I swear to God, I truly felt like I was watching a pro football team versus a college team, like a Div 2 college team. It was weird. Then the Packers couldn't hang in. They constantly got hurt everywhere. They were like glass. And the Eagles were just like fucking with them the entire time. There was an opportunity where Packers could have, with Josh Jacobs, shout out to Josh Jacobs on that big run, get him back into the game and make it a one-score game. For the most part, though, Eagles were in total control. There was like no urgency to the Eagles. The only complaint I had really about the Eagles' performance was Jalen Hurts. Outside of that, the Eagles completely dominated the Packers, and it was a boring-ass game. Boring. There's another thing I will criticize with the Eagles. I don't understand this whole running it on third down thing just to get better in punt position. That was weird. That happened twice, or maybe more than that, but I know it happened for sure twice. That was weird. But they were like, I think that was just them controlling the game, like, hey, our defense is elite. We don't have to worry about it. We know Jordan Love is not that guy, okay? They don't have the weapons that they need, right? They don't have it. Even though, Malik Willis was winning games with that head coach, because I think – I can't think of his name. What's the dude's name? LaFleur. There you go. LaFleur. Great coach. I think he's an excellent coach. Truly is. And I think the moment that team – like, it would help Jordan Love a lot. I'm not saying Jordan Love is great and phenomenal, and it was just because he didn't have the weapons around him, but because he was throwing terrible passes in general, right? Making terrible plays left and right. But that team's definitely going to need some weapons in the future for wide receiver. And Josh Jacobs was completely wasted this season. So that's why I think of that. There's not really much to say outside of that Eagles versus Packers game. Tara Dome said it right. Eagles are very physical. They are a very physical team. They want to dominate you on defense. They will destroy you on defense. That offensive line wants to crush you. They have 3 Pro Bowls on that O-line. They're a very physical team. They're big, they're huge, and they make other teams look small. The Eagles have it on offense, they have it on defense, and they have it on special teams. Some people criticize Elliott, but I don't think Elliott's that bad. That's kind of weird for people to criticize him. But we'll see how it goes. Let's see if the Rams, well, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but the Rams are going to be a harder competition. That defense looks like it's on fire, and that offense with Matthew Stafford looks really great with Puka Nacua. It looks really good. Kyrie Williams looks back in his old shape, old form, and looks like he's ready to go, right? So that game is actually be really good. I can't wait to actually give my predictions of that game tomorrow. Let you guys know who I got going for that. But Eagles, my only concern with Eagles is Jalen Hurts. That's my only concern. It's not the defense, it's not special teams, it's Jalen Hurts. If it comes down to him throwing a pick six or a crucial interception or one of his bad passes get thrown the wrong way, the Rams will take advantage of it. Packers does not have a great D-line. They don't have the best defense. They didn't have Jair Brown out there. So that wasn't the greatest defense to prove that the Eagles' offensive line and their offense was elite. That defense was not great. Now you're going up against the Rams, who have a hot, sexy-ass defense out there, making plays left and right. So that's going to be the ultimate test for Jalen Hurts because he's going to be under duress. I understand that the Eagles' O-line is elite, but I'm pretty sure, based on what I'm seeing, that Rams defense is going to have Jalen Hurts rushed a few times. And we'll see how that goes. Jai Alexander, yeah. I misspoke, my bad. So that is my take on the Eagles versus Packers game. It was belt to ass, almost, just about, and it was boring as fuck. So that makes 1, 2, 3, 4 boring-ass games in a fucking row. Super boring. But like I said, you guys made that stream exciting. You guys made the stream awesome, and I appreciate you guys for that. That was what, honestly, the blast, just having a great conversation. So I think solid Cowboys America's team may not be as feasible per touchy political, cultural things, in my opinion, just saying. Packers played like Darnold. Yes, did not play good. Did not play good at all. I thought Darnold probably played worse than Jordan Love, though. He played pretty bad. Arch Saints want to sign or go after Darnold. Let them do it. Let them just keep recycling the whole backup quarterback guy who's not finding their guy thing. Let the Giants do it. Let the Jets do it. Let the Saints do it. What's another team that I'm missing that does that shit? There's teams where they just keep recycling these backup quarterbacks or these quarterbacks who have these one-hit wonders, take them in, think they can do it, and they just can't. Let them do it. Let them do it. If Cowboys take solid, do you think the 49ers would be interested in Deion Sanders? No. No. I do think that Deion Sanders would only be – because Deion Sanders said multiple times that he only wants to play as a head coach if he plays with his sons. Sons. So that means they're going to have to draft both of his kids. And Shadur Sanders is going to have to play quarterback. That would be way too much dramatic situation there. I'm not a fan of Deion Sanders anyway. I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but I don't think he's a great one either. I don't think he's this top dog guy who's going to change an organization for the better and win a Super Bowl. And I don't even think that he would be a good defensive coordinator because I think he's more of a – is he more of an offensive guy or just a coach? I think he's just a coach. I don't think he's actually one or the other. I don't think he's one or the other. I could be wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure he just coaches. Pretty sure he has a head coach and lets his defense and offense of coordinators do the work. Bills versus Lions Super Bowl. Ford Mustang in the house. It might, man. It might happen. That definitely might happen. Ken Norton, Jersey. Dude, no, man. No. No. No, guys. No, he wasn't. What are we doing? What are we doing? No. You guys are killing me. I don't think Prime wants to be a DC leading candidate after Saleh. Who I think would be better fit in Jacksonville would be Dennis Allen or the former DC interim head coach of Jets, Jeff Ulbrich. I can see that. Personally, I like Wink Martindale, but Kyle, I will have to respect him. That guy sounds familiar. Isn't he in college? Wink Martindale? I think he's in college, right? Could be wrong. All right, let's move on to the best game of Wild Card Weekend, which was Commanders versus Buccaneers. The Buccaneers got not belt to ass. This was an excellent game from start to finish. It was back and forth, left and right. There was fourth down plays. There was turnovers. There was close fights. There was some PI calls that weren't called, and there was balls don't lie moments. That game was phenomenal. It had it all. It was a true playoff game from start to finish, and it ended as a playoff game. It ended as tight as it could, off a fucking doink, and you could see the kicker. The kicker was sweating ass, dude. He was losing his mind. He was like, I know he has OCD, so that's part of it, but he was just like, you see like the sweat coming off his body, like just his face, just losing his shit, dude. Right? That was intense, man. You could tell like he could totally miss this. He could totally miss this kick. That's what I was trying to tell Dexter. Like, hey, man, he could miss this. Look at this guy, man. Look at this guy. He does not look ready for the moment, man. He's probably going to miss this. And when he kicked that ball, I went back and watched it. It was in slow motion. That felt like it was 5 minutes when he kicked that ball. It was like, it's going to go in. Wait, it's not. No, it is. It's not. And then you just notice like it's getting too close to the white, to the yellow. And you're like, oh, sure. And doing. And you're like, did that doing in, out? I can't tell. And it went in, and it was a phenomenal moment. It was a great moment. It was a phenomenal game, man. Jaden Daniels is clutch. Jaden Daniels in that game, in regular season and in the playoffs, you may say that he got lucky a couple times in regular season, but he's got it. He's got the touch. He's got the magic. It's there. Is it going to die off next year? We'll see, because it matters what you do, especially as a rookie, what you do next year. But it seems it carried into the playoffs. That fourth down run by Jaden Daniels was insane. Had me having a heart attack. When he faked it and he came around the edge, I was like, he's going to lose yards. He's going to pull Shadur Sanders. He's going to lose yards. And then Chancey, the guy who was in Jaden Daniels' face the entire game, be like, we're going to get you. Blah, blah, blah. They kept cutting to him. Notice he was like, when Jaden Daniels stiff-armed his ass and then got the first down, that was justice. That was a story. That was poetry. That was phenomenal. If you're a Commanders fan, you're loving life, dude. You're playing with house money, winning that game, and you showed out. Jaden Daniels confirmed that he's the franchise of that quarterback, of that team. He's the guy. And yeah, I love Jaden Daniels, man. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of this team. You know, I had the high hopes for this team coming into the season. A lot of people didn't. So I'm gonna take a little victory lap. All right, I'm gonna take a victory lap here. I'm gonna take a victory lap. I was kind of right about that. But what a game. I can't believe it. 23-20, man. Now, can they repeat this performance next week against the Lions, which is a lot tougher situation, a lot tougher competition with the Lions coming off a bye week, 2 weeks to game plan, really 1 week because you don't know who you're playing really. But I don't know, man. This Commanders team could be Cinderella. I'll give you my predictions tomorrow, of course, so I won't spoil who I'm going for. But I feel like the Commanders might actually give this Lions team maybe a little bit of a tough time. And this Lions team is just phenomenal, man. Can the Commanders take advantage of what could be rust instead of rest for the Lions? Right? Could that be the case? I heard that Montgomery's coming back, but that could just be smoke and mirrors because it's not confirmed that he's coming back. And if he does, there's a high chance he's just going to re-injure himself again. Because the injury he had, I can't remember what it was, is way too big for him to just come back and then just be old Montgomery. Right? So it could just be smoke and mirrors. We'll see how it goes. But Dan Quinn has a huge game on his plate. Huge game. So we'll see how that goes. Some comments. Yes, Michigan now, but was DC of Ravens Super Bowl year they beat us? 3-4 guy. I'm not really a 3-4 defense kind of type guy. The way you said Commanders just remind me of you all team. Yeah, I know. I got stuck in a lot of people's heads. Kalijah, Kansas, yeah. Kansas decided just to grab Jaden Daniels' towel, but not. Did you just see that? I saw that. He was just jogging with his towel. I'll hold it for you. Obviously, I'm your bitch. Sorry, I don't mean to say that about Bucks fans because I respect that team in their fight. I don't mean like that. It was just, why are you holding his towel? Why are you holding his towel? Oh my God. Don Martindale at Michigan, but reports are he is being interviewed for DC, Atlanta, Indianapolis, or Cincinnati. If he does have an ego, there's no way there's going to be two egos in the house. Unless Kyle Shanahan knows him personally, if he has an ego, it's not going to work. I'll agree with that, but probably not. It's probably not going to happen. And I don't know enough about Wink Martindale to really have a huge opinion on it. I haven't even heard about him potentially going to the 49ers or anything, so I haven't studied him. But if you're saying 3-4, I'm already not too excited about that. You know the Bucks beat the Lions in week 2. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. That happens. I know they won 20-16. I'm telling you, this guy can coach defense. We'll see. Are the Seahawks want to go after our running back Mason in free agency? Do it. I mean, we get a pick out of it. You got to pay him, and we get a pick. And we can turn that pick into Bo Scatterbo or Nick Singleton from Penn State. 2 of my favorite running backs in the draft who are not first rounders. If we get whatever pick they end up giving us for him, fine, I'll take it. If they want to get Mason, that's fine. They have Walker, but I heard Walker might be walking. And he's injury prone, so they do need a running back. I feel like Mason either is going to go to the Dallas Cowboys or to a team that needs a running back, which would probably be the Seattle Seahawks. I wouldn't hate it. I mean, I'd be happy for Mason. Mason gets the bag, gets to be the starter, right? And in an offense where he will get to run the ball. So I'm happy for Mason. Do I want the Seattle Seahawks to have Mason like that? No. But I don't think Mason is like a CMC or a Saquon Barkley. It's not like that. It's not like we're letting go of a Saquon Barkley or a top 5 running back. He was great. He was like a top 10 running back. He was good. I like his potential. But it's not like, end of the world thing if he goes to the Seattle Seahawks. And it wouldn't be the first time a 4-4 goes to Seattle Seahawks. Who would you keep between Elijah Mitchell or Jordan Mason? Jordan Mason, 110%. Elijah Mitchell is way more injury prone than Jordan Mason. And I like what Jordan Mason showed because he's younger. And Elijah Mitchell is older. And at Elijah Mitchell's age, it's time to move on. So, all right. Let's move on to the next game. Vikings versus Rams. I know there's a lot of Rams haters in this chat. I know there's a lot of Rams haters out there that are 49ers fans. I get it. But I was right. Just saying. Look, the Vikings, they showed their true colors in big moments against the Lions. The Rams have been in big moments, especially when you're a quarterback and coach, have been in big moments, won a Super Bowl at that, been through it all. You're going to handle those moments a lot better. And that's exactly what was going to happen. And that's exactly what happened in that playoff game. I just had this feeling that despite what the Vikings showed in the regular season, what they showed me against the Lions was they were too scared. Sam Darnold was not the answer, could not handle it. All the Rams had to do was blitz and get to him, hit him a couple times, and he was going to fall apart completely. And that's exactly what happened. I knew that the Rams were going to come out there and they were going to win. And they won. They dominated the Vikings, destroyed them, absolutely destroyed them. From offense, defense, special teams, whatever you name it, crushed them. So, and this was another boring game. This game was boring. It's boring as shit. Like, if I didn't have you guys in chat, I would have fell asleep. I would have gone and read a book. I would have gone and read Dune. I'm like, fuck this, man. I'm going to read Dune. This is a waste of time. But you guys made it what it was, man. It was exciting. We had a great time, But there's not really much to say about this because we kind of already talked about the Sam Darnold thing, him playing bad. So I don't want to sound like a broken I can't think of the word. But you guys know what I mean. I don't want to sound like I'm just repeating myself or redundant like crazy all the time about Sam Darnold thing. We know what happened there. I was shocked a little bit that defense of the Vikings didn't exactly play that great. I do think, and I'm going to die on this motherfucking hill. I'm going to die on this hill. That was a fumble. Okay? If that's not a fumble, the tuck rule thing with Tom Brady was not a fumble. I'm dying on that hill. Because if you could just do that, and that counts as a pass, if I'm a quarterback, I'm doing that every single fucking time that I'm getting sacked. All I have to do is just do that. Are you serious? Are you serious? I just got to flick of the wrist? Get out of here. Stop it. Anyway, which changed the momentum for the Vikings anyway, but I still don't think the Vikings would have won and came back and done their thing. Rams won that game dominantly. They're going to go play the Eagles. Nikita's team, Michael's daughter's team. There are some things to root for there because it's a fellow Wolfpack, fellow member of the show, of the channel, and we root for our Wolfpack here. We root for the family of this channel, of course. So I wish them nothing but the best. However, I do think the Rams are going to give a tough time to Jalen Hurts. And all the Rams have to do for the offense side of the ball towards that Eagles team is to hit him a couple times and try and get him make some mistakes in the passing game. That's what they do. But that's going to be that is a tall task against the best offensive line in the league. It's going to be tough. So it's really going to be an interesting matchup. Again, I'm not giving my predictions. We're going to see. And I do know that you guys honestly want the Eagles truly. Even if we didn't have some sort of incentive at all, you guys would want the Eagles to beat the Rams because they're division rivals. And we don't want to see our division rivals succeed. We all know that. Especially don't want them to win another Super Bowl because then it's more the Rams era, right? And we don't want that. We don't want that at all. I get what you're saying. But again, I'll make my predictions tomorrow for that game. That game was belt to ass. We had 5 games belt to ass out of 6. 5 belt to ass weekend games. The world's most boring fucking. We didn't even get to see the Cowboys get blown out by the Packers, man. Yeah, that was the Packers game, belt to ass against Cowboys, but we all enjoyed that shit. All of us collectively enjoyed seeing that team get their ass beat. We all enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I was like, yeah, the Packers are crushing the Cowboys. Woo, this is awesome. We were all Packers fans that day. So that was a terrible weekend, but like I said, you guys made that what it was. So that's the recap of all the games, all the wildcard games and how I felt about it, and just a quick recap of it all, even though that quick recap lasts like 40 minutes. But That's a recap. Thank you guys for that. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the must wins. And I know I said to make this show an hour, but the whole thumbnail to this video is literally the must win thing. So I'm gonna get through that real quick because that's false advertisement. So people are like, you didn't talk about must wins in this live. So we're gonna jump into that. Sam Darnold, they probably won't do it. They want to keep the same old wide 9 cover 3 milk toast vanilla bean class coach that's going to leave in a year. I disagree, man. I don't understand this hate towards the wide 9. I don't understand this hate towards the wide 9. It works. It works. People were complaining about Nick Sorensen being bad, but then they're saying it was because of the wide 9. What do you mean? The wide 9 is still good. Still does its job, right? And I do not think Robert Saleh is milquetoast vanilla bean class coach, right? I do like the passing game coordinator, the defensive passing game coordinator, DB's coach for the Lions. I know that's like a hot take with some people, but I like him a lot too. Jeff Ulbrich can do a 4-9, a wide 9, which some people love him. They don't view him as a milquetoast vanilla bean class coach. Right, some people love Dennis Allen, who's a different one, who's not wide 9, so that is different. But wide 9 is not bad. It's 1 year, one bad year of a defensive coach we all agree wasn't that great. Maybe if Robert Saleh comes in and the wide 9 doesn't work, I would agree with that. Then I'm like, fine, but it still works. It still works, and it's 1 year, right? And Steve Wilkes was actually pretty good. It just wasn't Robert Saleh, D'Amico Ryan's standards. So we kind of felt like watching it go down, we judged it a lot. We're like, okay, well, the quality of defense just went down. What the fuck? And then it went down even more with Nick Sorensen. They were like, what the fuck? We should get see what was the fuck. So give it time, man. Like next defensive head coach, literally 1 year of it being bad. 1. Martindale doesn't want to be a head coach, would be here years and put his stamp on things. Goes 3-4, 4-3 blitzes and runs those QBs will be on notice. We'll see, man. I mean, college is different than the NFL. I'm not saying, again, I don't know enough about him, so I don't know. But I'm all for getting a college coach because that's usually what happens. You go from college to NFL and then you become great that way. But I'll be open-minded because it's different in the NFL. Competition's different in the NFL. Martindale was the one who put something on Jalen Hurts a few years ago. I don't know what that means. Bray also tried to tuck it back. He was with the Giants then. But here's the thing, man. Like, it's kind of what you're saying. Like, if we're criticizing wide 9 for being old, right? But you want to get an old defensive coordinator who's been around since 2008? Like, that's just a lateral move there. And offenses get different. Offensive schemes are changed. We don't know if he's going to be the same in the NFL. So I don't know, man. I'm skeptical about it. So just another clickbait. It works, but if you don't use it all the time, we got to get some more politics from secondary, though. I don't know what the politics part. Sorensen wouldn't adjust. Same cover 3, no cover blitz, no rob, no lurk, nothing exotic, no adjust. So he was that bad. Yeah. Meant more blitzes from our secondary. I agree. I think that there just wasn't I did do some research, but it's something I'll say for tomorrow. I researched the passing, run defense, all of it, the stats, etc. And it kind of told me the story of Nick Sorensen, but I want to save that for another day, probably tomorrow. He's just parking at a college this year, 2024. He's a Super Bowl winner with the Ravens. I know that was in 2013, wasn't it? And I'm not saying he's going to be bad, but I feel like that's just a lateral move. I feel like you're doing the same thing if you got Dennis Allen. I feel like you're doing the same thing if you got Ken Norton Jr., who I don't think would be good. These offenses are different, especially in the NFL with the personnel you got. And yeah, I will have to agree to disagree. He could be good and I could be completely wrong. And if I end up being wrong, I'll be first to admit it. We should have got Wink Martindale. He's a mastermind at that trend. If he can be as good as you say he is from 2008 to now, that dude is a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator. Seriously, because offenses adapt, offenses evolve, and to be that dominant and that good throughout that long period of time, that would make you a Hall of Fame practically coach in some levels. Obviously, Hall of Fame are safe for like head coaches, but for some reason, I'm not really seeing a lot of comments on my screen. I think it's right now just Terradome and you right now. Just talking right now. So don't worry about it. All right. Let's jump into the must-wins of these games real quick. We got into the comments. These are the must-wins of the games coming up in the divisional round. That is the title of the thumbnail. That's what we got going on. All right. First up is Chiefs versus Texans. This one was hard. Okay. This was hard because the Texans are playing with house money while the Chiefs, if they lose, whatever, they're still a dynasty. Right? They're still a dynasty regardless. So you got one team with house money where if they lose, it's whatever, it's expected, and there's not a big deal to that. But if the Chiefs lose, it's like whatever, they're still a dynasty. Andy Reid's still considered the greatest head coach of all time, and the Patrick Mahomes still considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. That defense is still phenomenal. Like Spags doesn't lose any credit. That defense doesn't really lose any credit. And it's really just they just faltered to possibly the rust, and they faltered to the rest, and the Texans just got the best in that game. We'll see. But in the aspects of like losing, like no one really loses anything. So the way I looked at it was the whole entire Kansas City Chiefs, it's a must win. It's a must win for the whole entire Kansas City Chiefs because they have a chance for a three-peat. The hype is there. The hype is real. They need this. They need this to truly set themselves in history. If they win a three-peat, that's practically how Tom Brady explained if he were to win an undefeated season. That's immortality, right? It's immortality. It's the same thing with the Chiefs. It's hard to three-peat. It doesn't happen all the time. They would be the first team to do that, and that would make them – it would set them with immortality. I like the way Tom Brady put it. It would make them immortal in time, right? It would last for a very long time or forever. They'll always be known as the first team to three-peat. The team that got closest was the 49ers, and they would pass that. So there's a lot of hype on this Chiefs team. There's a lot of hype for them to three-peat. There's a lot going on when it comes to that. So if they lose all of that. All of that shatters. And they're just, and I know this sounds bad, but I don't mean it this way, but they're just another dynasty. They become just another dynasty who just, I know that technically the dynasty of the Patriots are better, but you can argue that if the Chiefs were to win this three-peat, they had a better dynasty at any point than the Patriots did, than the 49ers did, than when the Steelers did. It doesn't matter. They become the top dog dynasty immediately. So they lose that immediately if they were to lose this game, especially against the Texans, who are huge underdogs. They're 10-point underdogs. So if they lose this game, they lose a lot of credibility and just become another dynasty. And I don't mean to shake, just be like, okay, shake a stick at it and be like, okay, it's just another dynasty. But there's a lot on the line when it comes to that, especially if they lose the divisional round against a team you need to dominate, right? So that's why guys must win is the entire Kansas City Chiefs team. Just because of the house money, CJ Stroud is what it is. No player really loses anything if the Chiefs lose. No player really loses anything or coach for the Texans either. So that's who I got for the Kansas City Chiefs versus Texans. Next up, you got Lions versus Commanders. Lions versus Commanders. The must win of that game, in my opinion, is Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell. Just like the Texans, the Commanders are playing with house money. Jaden Daniels has proved to himself that he is the guy for that team, right? We all know that team was just put together this year. Dan Quinn completely redeemed himself, going straight to the playoffs first year, doing his thing. Phenomenal. If the Commanders lose, they lose nothing. There is no negative to losing against what is considered the best team in the NFC, possibly the best team in the NFL. and I can't remember what seed they were. I can't remember what seed the Commanders were. I think they were the 7th seed. I could be wrong, or 6th seed. I think they were 6th seed. I could be wrong about that. But the Commanders, there's nothing going on with them. As for the Lions, this is Ben Johnson's opportunity to get redemption for losing last year against the San Francisco 49ers. And I know that's a bad taste in their mouth. Dan Campbell has taken this as this huge revenge tour, as this is our year, this is it. They're not actually saying that like a Dallas Cowboys fan and putting it out there, but that's what it is. They're doing everything they can to win games. They're doing everything they can to prove themselves that they can win a Super Bowl and get over the hump of being a bum-ass franchise, right? Because even the Cleveland Browns have been to 3 AFC Championship games. The Lions have been to 2 NFC Championship games. So the carryover here is that if they fall short this badly in the divisional round, that Lions team is still technically in history. I know that they would be recently still dominant and still good. They're still considered through history as the bum franchise in the back end who doesn't have enough appearances, who's been around as long as the Cleveland Browns, as long as the NFL has been around since the merger. They still have less championship appearances. So there's a lot riding on Ben Johnson, who honestly is trying to get a new job as a head coach, possibly for the Raiders. And if he loses it in the playoffs, some people are saying, well, can he do it? Can he drop the game plan when he needs the game plan when he needs it? Is he just another Kyle Shanahan because the whole knock of Kyle Shanahan is like he scores a shit ton of points. He's an offensive mastermind, but in the fourth quarter, can't get it done. That's what happened with the 49ers. Didn't get it done. Is Ben Johnson going to do the same thing? Is he going to fall short in the divisional round, though, which is worse than Kyle Shanahan's situation? It's huge, especially losing against a team that's playing with house money that is huge-ass underdogs. So if Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell lose this game, I mean, it's going to be crazy. There's a lot riding on them to get this W and go to the NFC Championship, because that's going to mean something through history. That's going to mean something now. So they need to get this W. It's not Jared Goff. We know what Jared Goff is. We know what that roster is. We know what that team is. There's no one on that team we're thinking, okay, he needs to win this, do this now to prove something. There's no one on there. You could argue Jared Goff to an extent, but it doesn't come close to Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell. So that's who I got as the must-wins for Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell for the Lions versus Commanders. Should be a good game. I'm excited about that. Again, I'll give my predictions next week. Eagles versus Rams. Who's the must-win for this game against the Eagles versus Rams? Some say Stafford. Some say McVay for some reason. I disagree with that. I think they've won their Super Bowl already. I don't think they have much to prove. They have a young defense. They have a bright future over there. And I know a lot of 49ers fans don't like me saying that, but the Rams team looks like they're going to be good next year. And they got a lot going for themselves. And I'm not saying they're playing with house money, but you could almost argue with that. If they lose, it's whatever. Right? Next year, they might have their standard might be set. They might be set to a certain standard at that point. But they were crawling their way into the playoffs, right? Everyone kind of thought the Rams were there's like a lot of people thought the Rams were going to lose because they were crawling in the playoffs, and then they showed up. And so I think that no one on the Rams really needs this, but on the Eagles side, I understand I said this about Saquon in the wild card round. You sacrificed a record, a personal record that would put you in history forever, potentially. Because if I was the Giants, honestly, I would have set every single defensive player on you. I would have stopped the run 100%. That would have been my job. But I digress. You sacrificed that. You put this out there. Now you have to, at least in my opinion, for Saquon, he needs to at least make the NFC Championship game. I don't think he needs to win the Super Bowl to justify missing out on the record, but I do think that he needs to make the NFC Championship game, at least, to justify it. There's a lot on Saquon. If he loses, a lot of people are just going to keep talking, oh, he sacrificed it. I think people are still going to do it the NFC Championship and Super Bowl if they go, but they're definitely going to do it with wild card and divisional. So in this game, I got Saquon Barkley, and my honorable mention in this game would be Nick Sirianni and Hurts. From what I saw from Hurts, he needs to have a better performance. And if he doesn't perform against the Rams, I know that they have a hot defense right now. But if they don't perform, if he doesn't perform, that's going to look bad on him. And he's just going to be another mid-ass quarterback. Nick Sirianni, they're already talking about firing him. They're talking about firing that guy. So if he loses this game, that talk is just going to keep going. So they're going to be, that's my honorable mention. But still, I would just be right about Hurts, and I wouldn't really care if Nick Sirianni goes. But as for Saquon, all around the league, everyone have eyes on him and think to ourselves, he needs to win. He needs to win now. He sacrificed the record. He needs to win games. So that's what I have to say about that. When it comes to the Eagles versus Rams, those are my must-win. Saquon Barkley needs to win this game. So Bills versus Ravens. This game. Hold on, let me drink last bit of my coffee. Bills versus Ravens. This game, I sat and thought about it. I was like, who has the most to lose here? And it was really hard to think of it. Yeah, I have the Eagles that lose more to lose. I agree, Papa. I agree 110%. If the Bills versus Ravens, I couldn't decide. And I realized something. Both teams are playing for something here. Both sides of the ball are kind of have something to fight for, something to prove. Sean McDermott already gets criticism for not winning the big game, not getting far, not even getting to the Super Bowl, right? Even though we have a head coach that does that. So I'm just throwing it out there. But Sean McDermott gets criticism for that. Josh Allen, same thing, gets criticism for that. John Harbaugh, I know won a Super Bowl, but some say he's washed. And he's not that coach anymore. Some are saying Lamar is just not a playoff guy. He needs to prove himself in this. He needs to prove himself in this divisional round, because him running the ball the way he did against the Steelers is going to be a little bit different against the Bills, higher competition. He's going to probably have to throw the ball a little bit more, make bigger plays, and be a lot more of a crucial piece to the Ravens, for the Ravens. The Ravens have the 31st passing defense. Josh Allen can throw the ball. He can spin it. Lamar's going to have to keep up with Josh Allen. Right? So if both of these teams, if one loses, one's going to have huge criticism. No matter what, we're going to have a huge narrative come out of this game. The must-wins are Sean McDermott, Josh Allen, and John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson. Out of this game, the stakes are high. It's not just your typical divisional round. It's not your typical who's going to go face the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, because that's really the narrative of the game. But who is going to stand out amongst the rest in the biggest moments? Who's going to do that? Who's going to show out? Is the Bills, is the Ravens. So I got both coaches, and it's very possible Sean McDermott might get fired. I'm not kidding. I heard talks that he might get fired. So there's a lot going on here. There is a lot at stake for the head coach and quarterback duos on both sides for both teams. So those are my must-wins for the Bills versus Ravens game, and that is my favorite game of the weekend. Obviously, it's the last game of the weekend. It's smart of the NFL to do that. Last game, last hype, biggest situation. You want to know who's going to go to the Super Bowl, not Super Bowl, AFC Championship game, potentially to face the Chiefs or possibly the Texans. We'll see. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But Buffalo needs to win this. I agree. They need to win this. They beat KC already. KC already beat Baltimore. Yeah, it's going to be huge. It's a huge game. Michael, the fact that they beat KC doesn't matter when KC constantly beats them in the playoffs. Yeah, playoffs is a different beast. I agree with you, Jake. Bills have more to have never won a Super Bowl. I think they have more to lose. There's definitely that pressure there as well. But if you're speaking like in this era based on players and coach, not really franchise, right? If you're not talking franchise and you're just talking players and coaches, Sean McDermott and Josh Allen. I know John Harbaugh already won a Super Bowl, but like I said, the talks are that he's washed. So I do agree. If you think the Bills has more to lose, totally understand where you're coming from, because it does kind of tip the scale. So that is my must-wins of the divisional round. and who I think I'll be keeping an eye on for the narratives after the game, because those are the narratives I have after the game if these teams were to lose and they need to win to advance to the NFC Championship or AFC Championship game, and that's who I got. So, all right. I'm losing my voice over here. I'm dying. Be sure to like the live, guys. So, all right. My final thoughts are Brock Purdy over Sam Darnold. It's obvious and apparent. All right. The NFC Wildcard weekend was boring as shit, but we had an excellent live. The best game was Washington versus the Bucs. Excellent game. Hopefully you get more of that in the divisional round. We should, with some of these competition being a lot more intense and a lot more closer to each other. So that's going to be exciting as well. And then we just got through the must-wins of the divisional round. Thank you to everyone who decided to join this live, say your opinions. We did not agree on everything, and that's okay. It's all about having a conversation. We're not always going to agree on everything, especially when it comes to coaches that should be on this team, this 49ers team. I feel like a lot of people have their own opinions on who should be on the squad, and there's going to be a lot of disagreements here and there. So we'll see how that goes. But I feel like we all kind of have our special guy who we want to pick up. We all have our opinions, how the defense should be approached, and that's kind of what I've gathered. A lot of people have their own, like Terradome has his opinion on who should be picked up and what should happen there. I've heard 49ers Media wants Dennis Allen. A lot of people think that's a bad idea. Some people want Robert Saleh. I do, but some people don't because they feel like it's a lateral move, just doing the same thing. There's a lot. And I do feel like a lot of people are going to disagree with whoever defensive coordinator is going to be. There is going to be a lot of talk and a lot of discourse over who's going to be the defensive coordinator. Just watch. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. Not everyone's going to be happy, and a minority chunk of the defense of 49ers fans are going to be disappointed. It's going to happen. So, hi, everyone. Please, KC, lose this weekend. Saul will probably be a head coach. Possibly. It depends if he wants that Jaguars job or Dallas. I don't see why you want to do that. Last one thing, when evaluating the Ravens' improved defense, look at the QBs they've played over the past 8 games. I'll do that another time. I got to balance. I got things to do. I got to walk the dog, go to the store, cook dinner. I got a lot of shit going on. But I'll definitely take a look at that. Thank you so much for joining this live, guys. Thank you, Karen, for jumping in at the last minute. Be sure to like live. I appreciate you. As always, Papa J, the best mod in the A channel could ask for. Appreciate you. Jake, you're awesome, man. You have great info. I think you should start a YouTube channel, man. You got a lot of facts out there, man. You kind of keep up with it. It's kind of your thing. You're very nitpicky, yeah, but that could be a good thing if you want to start a channel. Helps you keep up with facts. Terradome, even though we did not agree on everything here, I still appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for being part of this channel, being part of the conversation. And, of course, I would love to be on your channel one day and we could have a show together and we could disagree together and you'll have more of a vocal because commenting doesn't exactly allow you to put everything out there that you want. Michael, thank you so much for joining, man. I appreciate you as well, dude. You're awesome. Thank you, man. Good luck to your daughter with the Eagles, man. Who else was in this live? Val, of course, thank you for supporting this live. You always are an OG. You're always here. You always support. You're awesome. I appreciate you. Niners for life. Appreciate you as well. You found me from the games thing, but you always come in and join my lives. You support me here. I appreciate that as well. Steve-O, thank you so much. You're awesome, man. Some people are a troll. I don't understand that because you haven't been trolling. Ford Mustang 1969. Classic vehicle, by the way. That's nice. That's a nice looking car. I'm not gonna lie. Bills versus Lions Super Bowl. I'm all for it. Thank you so much for supporting the live. Tyler Helton, best Chiefs fan I know. Good luck this divisional round. I think you're gonna do very well, man. I think you're going to AFC Championship. Thank you, 49ers Media. Even though we don't agree on everything, man. Thank you so much. Looking forward to the next show we do on Tuesday. Cappers, Cap and Cap. Thank you so much for joining the live as well. And the Sports Machine, who's a Dolphins fan. You don't see that every day. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. These lives are a ride. I have a great time. I rarely expect these live. I half the time I don't know what I'm doing. I get anxiety. I have no idea where to start. I just kind of and I just babble. And you guys come in here and you support me, and you guys help make this channel what it is. And I thank you guys so much. It's This is awesome. We're at 3,700 subs. We could possibly make the 4K soon. I really appreciate it. And be sure to like the live if you have liked the live already. Sub. To everyone who watches this later, sub if you haven't subbed already. That way you're part of the Wolfpack, you're part of the conversation, and we grow together. We can disagree together, we can agree together, we can have a debate. That's what it's all about, man. We're not always right. Okay? Not everyone's right. And that's what it's all about. Just having a good time. Putting our opinions out there. That's what it's all about. Like the live. If you hate everything else, but for some reason this live tickled your fancy. Hit that like button. Supports me and the channel, and it puts the Wolfpack out there, right? And of course, it makes my 49ers heart, every single like, makes my 49ers heart go from here to here. All love, fam. All love, Wolfpack. I will see you next live, which is tomorrow. Bang, bang, not a gang. Bang, bang, not a gang.